Welcome to another episode of the Sosa podcast. And today I'm going to be talking about a life update. I'm going through a huge transition, starting a new season of creation and fully stepping into everything that I've ever wanted to do. This episode is going to be about my coaching business, relationships, family, my mental health, big career choices, and even aliens at the end. So stay tuned. But let's get into it. I've been wanting to do a solo episode for so long, but I've been hiding. I've been in my comfort zone. Yep. I've let procrastination and distractions rule my life for the most part. Now, the language I'm using is going to be pretty blunt, harsh to some. I feel like I've done the inner work, the humility, the humbling of my ego to just be raw and true about it. I think that's maybe some of the first problems a lot of people have is people use softeners, or they ease the blow by saying it's not that bad, or consultation, consolid. Well, they, what is it when it's like, at least you're doing this, at least you're doing that. Consolidation prize, consolation prize. You get what I mean. But true change or excellence comes from really telling the truth and just being blunt and honest. And it's totally fine to just humble yourself and say, this is where I've been operating in my comfort zone. But what does it really look like to operate from the stretch zone, where it's a little bit scary? Where, for me, when I step out more into the light, when I bring out my ideas, when I expose myself, allows people to comment, hate, or love, or somewhere in between. And I think I've avoided that. I've avoided putting myself out there because I was in the lab of myself. The excuse I was having was I was really spending time getting to know myself, which is fine, but I think a true leader and the thought leader is willing to be humbled and corrected down the line, even by the audience. And it sounds like I'm just done being a lone wolf. I want to be part of the community, part of the expansion of what's going on in this world. I want to help my followers, my community, people that are going to resonate and vibe with my look and my voice, because that's usually what people judge at the beginning. Which is why we need everybody sharing their opinions, their voice, because that's how we correct each other. That's how we make for a better society, when people are not afraid to speak out what they believe in. But I think more importantly, that person must be willing to change. I'm not stuck on everything that I'm going to be sharing, because ultimately we're always chasing better. We're always trying to improve if you're growth minded. So I invite you, if you feel pleased to honestly, I feel like redoing this whole podcast already. It's not really coming out the way I want it to. So let me ground in my body. I'm gonna do my best to speak from the heart and not from my head. So here's what's in my heart. As I look to my notes, I want to be a life coach. I am a life coach. I've been able to learn from so many incredible men and women. I've been able to internalize and embody a lot of what people are seeking, which is the abundant good life, health, wealth, finances, relationships. And the feedback I get from those around me are very positive. So I don't believe I'm delusional right now when I say I have something to offer. Didn't start off that way though. I definitely still, even within the good life, there's still levels of comfort. And I want to, I've had good careers. I'm in sales and I have a good career right now. But as one of my life coaches calls it, what's there's, terrible, there's good, there's great careers, but what's the delicious career? And for me, it's being able to make a living helping others find and follow their passion and their purpose, whether it be in health, relationships, career. It's really to help someone live a truly abundant, inspired life. Because, like most everybody else, I was drifting, I was lost, I was living in the matrix. But part of what this podcast is and all the work that I'm going to be doing here on is I feel the call for something bigger, to really step in and play big, to shine my light and help others be inspired, to spark the flame in them to take action. Like that beautiful Nelson Mandela quote, who are you? Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light that most frightens us, not our darkness. Because as we let our light shine, we unconsciously liberate others to let theirs shine as well. Totally butchered it, but that's the gist of what I'm doing. So coaching, I found this amazing mentor who's bold and wise and humble and empathetic. And that to me speaks very loudly. I haven't consumed much of his content, but the small clips and snippets that I've seen were more than enough to know that, yeah, this guy's doing something. Which is rare because I do find a lot of men in this space are pretty polarized, pretty like extreme on certain sides. You have your far right voices that are overly masculine and unapologetically dominant. And that appeals to a lot of men because there's really a lot of soft, tolerant, in the wrong kind of way, voices on the far left side. And both have failed us. Both have, and that's actually what the algorithm feeds too. I don't really know if what the content I'm going to be put out is viral because I'm going to be shooting for the middle, for balance, for the range of feminine and masculine. And this is what I saw with Nick and his program. A strong leader who loves people. That's what I wanted to follow. So he was just pulling the call to action out there. Hey, who really wants to step into their bigness and level up and get out the matrix and just full on serve? I signed up, I did the call, and came down to, all right, you qualify. This is how much it's going to be. And I was like, somehow when it comes to money or things, I'm abundant in how I like to live and do things, but I have not, it's been a while since I've allowed myself to be stretched, to be challenged, to be uncomfortable financially. I was giving myself excuses or, I was going to wait. I was going to, I was kind of going back and forth. I was squirming. And what keeps coming true to life now for me is I've waited long enough. I'm 31 years old. I've had career success, but that only gets you so far. And honestly, it's not fulfilling. Just being at the top of the corporate ladder is just not fulfilling. I feel like it's way below the potential of what I can do and probably what you can do. I believe top leaders are meant to lead organizations that foster growth and a culture of positivity and people first, which is what I'm going to build. So I just said, fuck it. I waited long enough. Sign me up. And I'm like, am I going to have to get a second job? Maybe. I might. Am I going to have to say no to this lifestyle choice, that lifestyle choice? Probably. Immediately, the day after, the night of, I started making the changes. When you commit and you say yes to your highest potential and the allies and resources that all point and fuel your true North Star, the how is way easier than I thought it was going to be. I'm feeling so charged and juiced talking about this because I feel like I'm revving the engine of what has been there since my earlier days in MLM, multi-level marketing. Except for that was pure head, ego, my potential. I'm now combining it with my heart, which is what I've been focusing on for the last few years. And there's been a fear there to be congruent that way, but not anymore. So yeah, I've already solved how to pay for this coach and haven't done anything or started anything, but I've already got 2 clients, potential clients, that I have calls with this coming week because I'm stepping into this new identity. And as I introduce myself and as I go about the world, I'm operating from this identity that I'm going to attract my aligned tribe and clients, friends and community that vibrate at the level that I want to vibrate at. The first person that, I exposed this identity to instantly gravitated. 21-year-old Hispanic dude, Latino dude. And I said, he asked me what I did. I said, I'm a life coach. He goes, wow, I need one. This was his response. I'm like, oh, really? Well, tell me about why. It was actually kind of, I'm a realtor and I'm doing this pretty much alone and my family doesn't support me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I understand. I said, you're Latino, right? He said, yeah. I'm like, so am I. And honestly, emotionally, in a lot of ways, Latinos are pretty behind. It's like you start this life in the negatives because in my household, nobody knew anything about mental health. It was let's just call it war-torn consciousness emotionally. My mother absolutely adored and loved us. But there's a lot more than just love that is required to develop a healthy self-esteem, conflict resolution, vulnerabilities. And then especially growing up as a brown boy, we beat the emotions out of us. And maybe men in general create quite a toxic environment to step into their feminine, to be, to feel. I didn't say all this to him, but I conveyed that message in a few sentences and we booked a call and I'm pretty sure I know I can help this guy out. Seems like a good kid. So, anybody watching, if you yourself want some support, want some help, even just having someone to talk to that won't judge you and can actually empathetically listen goes a long way. Because most people don't even have that. I'm also helping my family, my mother, my brothers, start with their health journey. It's kind of the easiest place to start. Changing, sugary drinks to just water, to going out for a morning walk, to sleeping better, eating better, and then moving your body makes a world of a difference in how you feel. So I'm helping them with that, and they're already losing weight and excited and building on momentum. And my mom today called me saying, "Hey, your aunt wants to participate in this as well." And she said, "Hey, Toño," that's what they call me, Antonio, short for Toño. "Yeah, add me to your group because I've been trying, but I haven't been able to get any success." Hmm. Yes, I will help. Sometimes you just need someone who's operating at a standard and at a certain level is the requirement to be able to help somebody else, because you can't really help someone do what you haven't done yourself. And that is probably one of the big problems in this coaching space is a lot of charlatans, a lot of people operating off of theory, but to be embodied, to totally guide someone down the path in a gentle yet firm way, one has to be walking the walk. And luckily I am. I was just in the matrix, eating my emotions. That is how resistance shows up sometimes. It's in distraction and in food. Was always eating out, not working out, had neck pain and back pain all the time, terrible energy, no libido. I've been able to reverse all of that and improve it. And I'm now, look at, in the best shape of my life. So I know what it takes. And it's more than just a plan. It's really the support. Food and fitness are emotional, primarily. Last thing I'll say about coaching is I'm also going back to school. Next year, I'm going to be taking classes, whether it be graduate level or just intro to psychology. I'm going to participate in academia because I'm blessed and fortunate to be able to do so. I do acknowledge that there are so many that can't even afford that. So I feel like it's a responsibility to not just learn from life, but to learn from academia, to be well balanced, well qualified in helping people in my eventual profession emotionally heal. I want to be a psychotherapist, not only a life coach, but I really want to help people, and especially people of color, heal from trauma, heal from addiction, anxiety, depression. So this is me documenting that journey. Maybe like at least a 4 to 6 year process, but what I will become, the person I will become going through all that education, that rigor, that discipline. At my age, at 31, it's going to be a really worthy mountain to climb. Okay, so another area of my life that is beautiful and flourishing and vital and very important to talk about is my romantic side of life. For anybody that knows me, I've had such a journey when it comes to that. From being married for 8 years to going through that transition from divorce to essentially feeling like I'm 18, 21 years old, rediscovering myself, navigating being single, all the emotions that come through that, to then finding a partner that last year that wasn't aligned with me, which was tough and challenging because there was a lot of chemistry and love, but certain non-negotiables that were very clear. And I can go into detail of all that stuff later on, but it was still very challenging to get even out of that relationship. And without really trying or looking, God gives me a beautiful angel. And someone who's fully emotionally available and intelligent and just as loving as me. And it's been an absolute joy to be in this relationship. It's very grounding to have a partner that supports you, that gives you space, that has secure attachment, and it's very fulfilling. Like I said, very grounding. And I'm just blessed to be relating and growing and evolving with somebody that I feel is my equal. There may be more relationship topics and insights later on, because I do know that the current state of the single dating world is mostly hellish, it seems like, mostly bitter and broken. So I do have a lot to say about relationships, but that'll be for another time. Small details on health and fitness. I was mentioning earlier, it's going great. I'm finding ways to push myself. I'm preparing for the Austin half marathon. That's within my comfort zone, still a challenge. And weightlifting has just been fun. Not really much else to report there, but it's cool to document it as well, because I know for a lot of people that's a pretty huge area. I know it was for me. And now I am feeling and looking the way I want to, and it's just only going to keep getting better and compounding. Okay, a couple things on resistance and why right now is different than the past. I'm going to share these things because you may relate and you may discover how resistance hides in plain sight in your life. See, I've wanted to do this podcast for so long, but why didn't I? Some of the excuses in the past were I just didn't have the space to do so. I had other roommates that I felt subconsciously like I couldn't take up space. Like, this is a lot of equipment. Actually, it's not. Sometimes it can be just such a thin glass ceiling stopping us. So one was my environment. I moved to a place where this environment, I have the house to myself. Thank you, Neha. Which does help. So I created a space that was going to support my creativity. Check. That resistance box gone. What else prevented me from creating and stepping into my coaching? Overwhelmed with the infinite amount of possibilities and topics. What is the best things to talk about? What are the most effective hacks, and what are the trends right now? All these TikTok, Instagram people are with the cleanest, most attention-grabbing clips. And I have to be like them. I have to have this funnel. I can't just create content, because then how am I going to capture them? So I have to have this back end set up. Or what, for a long time, I was just working out in the morning, and that was the best of my willpower. So by the time I got home, I was too tired, or I started cleaning, or I started making breakfast, or I had to go get groceries. I let everything else distract me. And then by the time I was done, I was tired. And then I just wanted to have fun and socialize. So today is an example of me overcoming that. I do want to go to the gym, and I'm missing out on some group fitness classes. And I do need to go to the grocery store and cook. Recipe videos to follow. But I'm practicing doing the most important things first, the hardest things first. And it's not working out, and it's not cooking groceries. This is the hardest thing. But when you consistently apply your focus and when you consistently show up and stare at the beast and do it anyways, that muscle gets way stronger every day. There is a lot to do in creating a business and a personal brand, but I'm here for it. This is what I signed up for. It's my responsibility, my joy, my honor to do this work. Okay, last bit. If you made it to this point of the video, you are my guy, my girl. Thank you for listening. UFOs. The Age of Disclosure documentary came out. I have not seen it, but I started listening to the podcast with Joe Rogan, and I believe his name is Seth, the producer, the creator of the documentary. And my take so far is this is controlled rollout. This gentleman was chosen. I believe Joe Rogan has been chosen. And this is the soft launch for alien life introducing themselves. I believe the benevolent, guiding, loving force, the Anunnaki from back in the day, are making their return. They move and they operate on the timeline scale of decades or just multiple years. Because time is relative. A day may seem like a long time, an hour. Einstein put it this way too. If you're having fun, time flies. And an hour can go by like that. Feel like a minute. But if your hand is on a fire flame, 10 seconds can feel like 1 year or a whole day. It's just relativity. And so I believe the benevolent alien force gave the leaders of Earth and the aliens that are in cahoots with the controlling elite time to roll out the next evolution, the next phase of this planet, which is an evolving, growing consciousness. 3i Atlas is a huge catalyst for content around the subject. And the main theme is clear. There's fear and there's love. This universe has both, of course. But the grand arching principle is more love conquers everything. There are dark forces out there, maybe dark alien races, or maybe that's kind of what those are, one and the same. Dark aliens, dark demons, they're the same thing. Angels and aliens, same thing. Just look at the biblically accurate angel. Looks like the 3i Atlas. Most recent pictures lately have the comet or spaceship looking like an angel. So I was reading the Bible today too, which shout out to ancient scriptures of the world, guiding men and women for generations. Does the work that you do reflect the kind of world you want to create and be in? If not, I recommend to take a look at that and make some changes. Maybe use this urgency, maybe use the fear to get you back onto the good side. So that way then you can switch that fuel source into love. But I haven't really felt much fear when it comes to ETs, UFOs. More fascination, awe, and wonder. Because I feel like I've prepared my heart and my mind to receive what's coming. That's my take. UFOs, aliens, so many exciting things. We're talking football-size spaceships that don't have any windows. hovering and then vanishing. Same thing for in the oceans. Football size crafts with no windows, going 500 knots without ripples. It's been around for a while too, because 20 years ago there was this Tic Tac that would hover the ocean and then go up to 80,000 feet, which is space, and down back hovering above the ocean over a few hours. And that was 20 years ago. Again, this technology has been around for 80 years at least, from the recovered spaceships that even current government officials are admitting to. And soon enough, we're going to hear Trump or whoever's the president at that time. It's probably going to be Trump because it's sooner than later, acknowledging that we are not alone and we never have been. One of the really interesting things, and I'll close the pod with this. Bob Lazar was interviewing someone that made contact with one of the aliens who was dying because it was a crash. They crashed their spaceship. And the alien input telepathy, the alien's thoughts into the human that was there. And the alien's dying words were saying, "You humans do not know your full potential." Totally agree. You are greater than you realize. You have power beyond measure. And if you want to know how to access some of that power, hit me up. Send me a DM, send me an email. We'll connect. We'll see if working together makes sense or it doesn't. Either way is fine. Be well. Live free. I love you. Peace.